I'm Gary Campbell, and here in the office here, Dean Crane is also here. Um, we have Linda under the weather today, so she's not in the office here, but she'll try to help on the phone if anybody calls in and needs help getting on. Ken is remote down in Bloomington this morning. I don't know if he has any good news to share with us yet. His son Greg and their wife are expecting here, so could happen
We had a
anytime.
little girl granddaughter yesterday.
All
Uh,
right.
yep. So pretty
Yeah, that's good
exciting.
news. Yeah. And then also on our staff, joining remotely, Mike Smith, who you'll meet here in shortly. He's a new guy out in Missouri. And Clint Wietrich is in Indianapolis area. And Jim Nelson is down in southern Indiana. And Reggie Destry, he's up in Madison, able to join us. And then Monty gives us an assist also from the Panhandle of Texas. So we got all those guys on, all the smart people. So you can think of all the tough questions to ask them here today. Um, we'll kind of dive right in, and Dean is going to start us off and kind of give us an update on things.
Appreciate everyone being with us. Good morning. We're kind of becoming a fan of these kinds of meetings because you folks come from such a large area. If we pick an area to have a meeting like this, a lot of folks kind of get excluded due to travel time, what have you. So we're seeing these as successful. Please give us feedback. If you like or absolutely hate doing meetings this way, obviously we need to know it. At any rate, Gary and I were kicking around this morning. We're completing our fourth season as AgriEnergy Solutions, which seems hard to believe. It's gone much better than it was anticipated in the early days, so we're very thankful for that. This year is, barring any disasters from here out, we're going to be profitable. It looks good. It may be a pinch under last year, but not a lot, so we feel good about that. This year, as at least most of you are aware, probably all of you, we went through quite a transition by switching our fertilizer blender from DPH Biologicals to Early Bird down at Goodfield, Illinois. So that was obviously a huge switch for us. Had to learn how to deal with paperwork. They had to learn how to work with us. We're not going to kid anybody. There were some hiccups along the way, and there were some challenges. But they got it done. They got us through it. It went well. I think everybody got their product. So we'll rack that as a success as well. We're looking forward to next year. There's some new things coming, some more transitions. You'll hear a little bit about that this morning, but a lot more about it later. We've got plot info starting to come in. With some of the changes we made, you never know for sure how everything's going to play together. So far, everything has played together exceptionally well. So we feel really good about some of the new products. Next meeting that we'll probably do again will be another Zoom in November or December, more like the dealer meetings we've normally done. So unless we hear otherwise, that's kind of the plan. So that's kind of where we're at. And Gary will go after it with us.
Well, we wanted to give Mike a chance to introduce themselves. Mike joined us in, what was that, March, April timeframe?
Latest
in the
for this year.
spring. So this spring was still getting his feet wet and learning about all the products and different things going on. But he's a great guy to have involved with us and on the team. And I'll let Mike, you just introduce yourself.
Yeah, so thank you all for allowing me to join. I don't know if you can see in the background. I guess it's over this shoulder. There is a map of Ohio back there. I grew up in northeastern Ohio. About 25 years of experience in agriculture as an independent ag consultant. Spent some time running a local co-op agronomy facility. dealing with conventional agriculture, and then spent about 12 years as a technical agronomist for Stein Seed Company, as well as a local crop consultant here in Southwest Missouri. So I'm excited to be a part of AgriEnergy Solutions. Have enjoyed working with the team, getting to meet some of the dealers, looking forward to the future.
Okay, thanks, Mike. And well, as we dive into things, we're going to hear from Mike a little more here this morning too. Just want to remind everybody, if you get test plot results of anything you've done side by sides or comparisons, or just hear a good, good story, either positive or negative, out there in the field from your customers, then please tell us about it so we can add that to our kind of database of experiences. And if there was an issue, we want to hear about that too, for sure, that we can address that and try to dive into what exactly happened there. So there's always good things, and then there's always a few challenges as well, or head scratchers. So just want to try to help there any way we can. So what we really want to talk about this morning, and we'll try to keep this moving along and respect everybody's time as we're busy in the fall here, is opportunities that we have for sales this fall. And many times we get to the end of the growing season and we think, oh, well, we're kind of done for the year. That's it. But there's still a lot of things, potential and opportunities that we have in the fall to work with customers and to help build soils and things. So just want to hit on a few points. And this is just a overview of what we will talk about here in the next few minutes. Residue treatment options, inoculants for fall seedings, fertility that we can do in the fall, both liquid on various crops, and then also dry amendments that people are looking for. And then finally, some forage treatment products we've been working with, and also that relate to livestock health and digestion. So we'll dive right into that, the first being the residue treatment. And I asked Mike if he would address for a few minutes. We've seen a lot of both disease and insect pressure this fall here in the Midwest, especially. And as we think about breaking down crop residue and in effect biosanitizing the soil, how that interacts with diseases and other insects and things like that is really important point to think about. So, Mike?
Yeah, so an interesting, I guess, anecdotal story. Where I live in Southwest Missouri, we have not seen tar spot up until this year. This was the first year that we actually saw it show up. I know many of you deal with tar spot on a regular basis. I actually got invited by a friend to come look at a corn plot on a Saturday, just to give some of my advice on products that he was seeing. I was a mentor to him when I was at Stein, and so he asked for my help. And as we were walking through the plot, I kept noticing what looks like what you're seeing on the picture there on the left, that particular issue showing up over and over. And I was a little bit surprised. And so we sent samples off to the University of Missouri Plant Diagnostic Clinic. And lo and behold, if you look at the tar spot map that is available at the IPM website, you will notice that there's one little lone yellow verified county down in Southwest Missouri that has tar spot confirmed. My point in bringing that up is every year we see new areas, new pressures, and sometimes it is difficult to know exactly how to address those issues and deal with them. One of the mechanisms or the ways that these things survive is what we call overwintering. We know that tar spot tends to overwinter in the soil. It likes to overwinter on residue. We have other diseases, for instance, like Phytophthora in soybeans, that will like to reside in the soil. And there are ways that we can, we believe, attack these problems by simply taking away the home that these things live on. So in the case of tar spot, if we can degrade that residue to a place where it's no longer beneficial for the microorganisms to live on there, there's no nutrients, or perhaps maybe even switching gears, looking at pests. For those of you that plant wheat, maybe you're dealing with aphids. Aphids like to cover under corn residue, and so if you can degrade that residue to the point that it is no longer sufficient to protect the aphids, Mother Nature will take over and will then suppress that pressure. In the case of something like Phytophthora, that is a water mold, so it exists in the soil solution, the greater ability we have to build soil structure and to actually open up that soil, get oxygen in there, we can, and have water drain through that soil, so we're not dealing with saturated soils. Every single piece of that will actually serve to again, we're not attacking the host directly, but we're undermining the ability of that host to find a suitable place to live, to find suitable nutrients to survive, and then to ultimately to be present in the next growing season. And we really believe this is a way in which we can offer a unique solution in the marketplace today.
Okay, thanks, Mike. So just to review what some of the options are that we have available, we have a new one this fall, and it's coming, coming soon, but hopefully by the end of this week, we're going to have some in hand. It's a new product, and it's actually, we are labeling it, so we are registering it. It's all under our name as a new option for a residue degrader. I don't know, Dean, if you want to add anything to that. We don't want to compare products necessarily because they're each different and unique, but
Yeah, we've given it the name digester. It'll be water soluble. It likely has a slightly higher colony count than what we've had in the past. It's a company that we've worked with for many years, looking backwards. So we feel really good about it. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say other than, yeah, it's limited supply this year. So if you have interest, yeah, talk to us, get an order in. It's going to be a little less costly than what we've had in the past. So
Yeah,
if you have interest, yep, give us a
and
call.
we'll get pricing out on that here this week as soon as we have it in hand. It does come in two different sizes, 2.2 pound pouch, which this is a metric thing, so you have to adapt to that. But that treats 20 acres because the rate is 1 3/4 ounce per acre is the normal rate. So that one pouch does 20 acres, or there's a 22-pound pail, which is the same kind of pail as we have in the new seed treatment, and that does 200 acres. So there's two different size options there. But as Dean said, we just have a limited quantity coming this fall or here this week that we're starting with. So if you're interested in trying some of that, please let us know soon. We've submitted it to PCO for organic approval. I don't know what the status of that is, or if we've heard anything back yet, but hopefully this week we'll have that in place too. Working with this company, they've been very good to work with on the organic side with whatever information certifiers need. And with our other biological products that we've worked with or sourced from this company, there's been no issues to date. So hopefully this will sail right through as well. So that's a new thing to try, new option we have. We're always trying to look for products that are going to be good and also be economical for the grower. Of course, we have the old standby still, Residus WS, and that is 1 pound for 10 acres. And that comes in 1 pound, 5, 10, and 30 pound sizes, just like it has for many years. So that will not be changing at all. Last fall, we started a new dry blend called Resicycle. That is 2 pounds to the acre, and a 50-pound bag does 25 acres. That has the cultures in it, the digesters, as well as food sources, a real fine soluble humate, as well as sugars and stuff like that. So it's like a complete package where you don't need additional food sources. You just throw the whole bag in and go. You can either solubilize it, spray it with a sprayer in water, or as a powder, you could blend it with a dry fertilizer or something like that and spread it dry. Then the other final option is MT17. That's the liquid biological from DPH. Some guys have been using that on especially fields where there's a lot of manure going out or a lot of other, whether it's compost or dry fertilizer, other carbon materials, stuff like that. But that would be a kind of totally liquid option as well. So I want to pass it to Ken. And Ken, if you could talk about kind of the food packages and how we like to feed those bugs to get them started.
Okay, we do feel it's very important to put a food package with the microbes to ramp up their numbers in short order so they can start work quicker on degrading the residue. And, you know, as you're aware, we do have a different fertilizer blender. And so we also have different food source packages to put with our residue digester organisms. We'll start off with the Prim Cow. I think that's the ultimate one if you're going to try to change soil structure. If any of you are familiar with the Practical that we've had in the past, it was a humic acid and calcium nitrate based product. So you've got two components there that help to flocculate soils and improve soil tilt, that being calcium and humic acid. The Prim Cow also contains calcium and humic acid and sugars. So it is a great food product or food source to put with the residue digesters. It does have some limitations. It's not allowed for organic production. And being a calcium product, there's things that won't mix with, obviously with phosphorus, but also some herbicides. We know it doesn't mix well with glyphosate. Beyond that, we're not sure. So if you are wanting to put it with another product, may need to do some jar testing on that. But it isn't an excellent food source. Another one would be the Humisol, which is another new product. And that contains humic acid, sugars, nitrogen, and sulfur. So that it's not allowed for organic, but other than that, it should be compatible with most anything. So a lot of flexibility there. And then for those of you that are organic, we've got the MicroCal O. That has an organic calcium. It also has fish, so we get amino acids from the fish. And as most of you know, fish is just an excellent food source for microbes. And it also has sugars and humic acid in it. So that will be an excellent product. Whether you're organic or non-organic, it would work very well. And then you can add additional things to it, to any of these, like ammonium sulfate, ammonium thiosulfate, extra nitrogen if you're in a high residue situation, say like corn after corn. You could add additional nitrogen like the Premium 6 or Premium 21. If you have products left over like fish or molasses, you could use those, or some mixes you may have left over like Completo. And then one other thing we might suggest is adding Oro RZ to loosen tight soils. We've seen that can be very effective. It changes the way water moves in the soil, and if water can move through more freely through the soil, it's going to take the microbes with it and help to change soil tilt that way. This next picture shows some beans. This was on the farm of Derek Davis in Missouri. On the left is the untreated, and on the right, he used the Residus WS in a food mix. And his food mix is a combination of potassium sulfate solution and the terra-fed molasses, which is organic. And the neat thing about that, he uses that package, that food source throughout the year. It's a flexible thing. It can go in furrow. It's a great foliar product. It could be used in a 2x2 or side dress, but it's worked very well as a food source. And you can see where he put that on, the maturity of the beans is accelerated. If you look at the roots, you've got a deeper aerobic zone with more root hairs. It just really changed the soil environment. He recently made the comment to me that he's seen really good results with that, but where he added the MVP and the humic acid along with the potassium sulfate molasses, it seemed to step things up another notch. So just really hitting the biological angle very hard in a residue management program, he's seen some pretty dramatic results. And hopefully we'll be able to share some yield data here later.
Yeah, I put this picture in. This is up in Black River Falls, Wisconsin, customer of Anderson Feeds, and then Reggie and I have worked with them for many years. And when I was there here in September, really was struck by how clean this field was. You can see there was a few giant rag and things that were sticking up that got zapped there in the center of the picture or the background. But there's zero grass, zero foxtail, whereas some other fields on this farm that we were in had foxtail. So I kind of asked, well, what did you do here and what's different? And in this case, they've been putting on a calcium mix called C165 that Anderson Feeds blends for many years. But then this spring they put Residus WS, and I think they used a little leftover fish or something that they had on hand, and sprayed that on the corn stalks as they worked them down, and then planted the beans in here. And I just want to point out the example of where we get biological activity along with soluble calcium and kind of rapid residue degradation. That's really the best thing for flocculating that soil, changing that soil structure, reducing compaction, which then the end result of that is fewer grasses that want to germinate and less weed pressure like that. So Residus does not kill weeds, does not do anything like that, but if we can change the soil structure, that's what pays off in the next crop. With that, I think that's the last slide on the residue section. Are there any questions we can address like at this time? And you have to either unmute yourself or ask to unmute. I'm not real quick on how you controlling muting and unmuting people, but or if you got your screen on, just wave at me or something and I'll try to unmute you. But are there any questions right now we can answer?
Hey, Gary.
Yes.
You said that he used CS65, C165, along with that other blend of stuff on these.
Yeah, so as I understand it, what they do with that product is they blend a source of gypsum, a source of lime, and then another, I think it's a calcium oxide or something like that, another form of calcium. So you have three different forms of calcium with three different kind of modes of action. And I don't know, Dean, maybe you want to comment. For years, we've seen that blend of gypsum and lime together does some neat things.
Okay.
I got across that first time many, many years ago in Missouri, around a home where they bulldozed on clay and the yard was really bad. And we put on lime and gypsum and humic acid. And the homeowner was also a distributor of sorts for us, called back within, I don't know, a week or 10 days. And he says, it looked like I put on nitrogen and my yard is soft now. So that was interesting. The picture Gary's showing looks, I mean, we had the same thing happen here in Barrow County, I don't know, about 3 years ago, when a customer, my brother, went organic for the first time, and he ran several blends on the field. We blended lime and gypsum with compost and laid that on top after planting. Then we also had lime and gypsum laid on top after planting, and then ran MT17 over the top after planting. And as Gary was saying, that gives you the ability, with the soluble calcium and the biology, to aggregate the clays, flocculate that soil, create tilth at the surface so that the gas diffusion, we can get oxygen going into the soil, the carbon dioxide and other gases come out of the soil, and that prevents weed germination near the surface. So foxtail pressure and velvet leaf was so pronounced here in Barrow County, on that pressure. My brother actually had an organic grower across the road, and he was interested in what he did. If we can create that tilth at the surface, it's a game changer. And yeah, soluble calcium, biology, and then some kind of carbon, for the food source to kick off that biological activity. That's really a game changer, if you have organics. And there is something unique about putting lime and gypsum, and perhaps this other oxide calcium's another player. There's something unique about putting the sulfate along with that carbonate on soluble calcium and how it reacts in the soil. There's something special there.
Gary, Dean,
Yes.
I want to share with everybody. I worked with this grower at Black River Falls for about 15 years. This is the cleanest field he has ever had. He did the management programs, and then he used the flamer and the weed zapper. And then he had an adequate amount of rain. This is a soil that's under 2% organic matter. And it's just absolutely gorgeous. And you'll notice the right side is the organic corn again. He's got all the toys and he does the management well.
Yep, thanks, Reg. I really wanted to point this field out because he has some other fields that are not as nice as this one. That's for sure. But just where everything was coming together. Okay. I did want to throw out here. Another person asked me yesterday about the question of when the ground is so dry that we've seen in a lot of places here, should I go out and put the residues on or should I wait? And I'm going to throw that at Ken, if you can address that a little bit.
Well, if it's absolutely dry and the product you spray is going to be left on the surface, I think you're better off to wait. If you're going to incorporate it with some tillage, I think that's a little different story. If it's too dry for the organisms to grow, at least they'll be in position to multiply when you do get moisture. But if they're left exposed to the sun and the wind, I think you'll lose some of the organisms that you put out there. So for it to be most effective, these organisms do need to be incorporated either by tillage or rain. So again, patience might pay off here. Just wait till more favorable moisture conditions.
Yeah, and if you know it's gonna rain soon, then get out there with the sprayer and get it on ahead. Just got texted a question of, does the new digester also need a food source? And yes, you would treat it just like you've treated the Residues WS in the past, where that's the culture package and then you put a food source with it. It's the Resicycle would be the one combination where the food is included as far as sugars and things. So all the rest would be straight culture that we want to put food with. Okay, any other questions right now? Otherwise, we'll move on. The next thing we're going to talk about is fall seedings. And that's something that I think there's really an opportunity for minimal dollars per acre to really improve the chance of that seeding getting established and taken off. This fall, where we have dry conditions in a lot of places, I know guys that were waiting to drill wheat or something, because what's the point of putting the wheat out there if it's total powder on top, you know? But anything we can do to biologically treat that seed is going to give it a better chance of getting established and turning into a good stand and a good yield for next year. So the options that we have, the Endo 24, that was our new seed treatment option this spring. It is a super fine powder. Anybody that's used it so far, I think you've probably seen that it's um, clings to the seed even better than other products that we've used, just by how fine it is. It also includes an organically allowed talc and graphite. If you touch it and put it between your fingers, there's a little bit of slipperiness to it, and that's the graphite that's in there. And that it is, what shall we say, highly concentrated. So some guys have gotten by with lower rates than other seed treatments that we've done in the past. Or you can continue with the same rate and know that you're getting actually more bugs, more microbes out there at that similar rate. It comes in pouches that are either 1.1 pounds or 2.2 pounds, as well as the pails that are 22 pounds. And that's a metric thing, but it's worked out pretty well, I think, so far. We are just starting to see some yield data and things from that. The picture on the left hand of the screen is a seedling that Mike Smith dug up from one of his growers and doing a side by side, but we're still waiting to get yield numbers back on some of those things. We will share some yield results with you here in just a second of what we have seen. So that's our new seed treatment option that we're really excited about. I think it's going to be a real winner. We also still have the Myco seed treat, and that's the standard rate that we've done for many years, 4 ounces per 100 pounds, and comes in the different size pails. I will mention there, they no longer make the 1 pound pails, 1 pound little tubs. So if somebody just wants a small amount, we really recommend then doing the Endo 24 with the 1 pound pouch as the option there. Mycohume ST. So this is a new thing that actually Dave Casper, who's on the line, has been working with for a number of years. And it's taking the microbial seed treatment and combining it with humates, a real fine powdered humate, and then also we're now putting in a powdered seaweed in there as a food source. And the combination of that we've seen perform really well, especially out west in the Dakotas, Montana, really dry climates, because then the humate has a place to hold moisture and gives kind of a home for the organisms to live there. But then we've also seen it work now successfully in Michigan, Ohio, other soil types, of course, Minnesota, Wisconsin, everywhere that Dave has been working. So we've in redoing that, we've created that as a product of AgriEnergy's with a new label and new combination, and that is available to anyone that's interested in trying that. So situations, like I said, where it's super dry or really low organic matter, because then that humate can add some carbon holding capacity. Again, it's just a place for the microbes to live right around the root and just helps it get started even better. So that's an option. Of course, we can get all kinds of different rhizobium for cover crops, any kind of legume, any new seeding. I will mention that VizJohn, who does the Exceed, they actually have a new what they call cover crop blend. So if you're dealing with people that do a really exotic multi-species cover crop type thing and it's not inoculated, that can be a real good option to any kind of legume that goes out there. We really want to have rhizobium on it. have an inoculant with it. And it's real convenient to, you can put rhizobium on along with the mycoseed treat or Endo 24, those kind of things together, and that works really well. Also want to mention DPH has kind of reworked their companion product that they've had for many years now into a seed treatment called Companion Max ST. That is EPA registered as a fungicide. We have a couple dealers that are kind of working with that, trying that in different combinations with seed and think that has a fit. It acts, what would you say, Dean? The organism acts as a plant growth promoter, or you're building up resistance, SAR, systemic acquired resistance in the plant. So it's going on as a preventative ahead of disease pressure, that kind of thing. So just something to consider in the future. We want to point out, and Dean will explain this a little, hopefully, Dr. Heininger out in North Carolina does extensive research, and this is just a shot of the map of all the different research plots that he's doing. Down in the bottom row in the center where it's light green colored, that's where he did plots of the Endo 24. And then there are checks on like either side of that, some of the gray colored boxes. Yeah, Dean was out there in what, late August, was it? Yeah. You might just describe what's going on there.
So yeah, Dr. Heininger has been at this many years. He's just reaching retirement, so he's going to slow down, but he'll keep doing this. But we've had pleasure of working with him down there through a consultant. Must be going back 6, 7, 8 years by now. This is the plots right at the research station at Plymouth, North Carolina. Then he has 6 other locations that he does replicated plots as well. I don't think our product was in all of those this year, although they have been in the past. So yeah, just a shot of how complex it is. And actually, Gary's pointing out that bottom row, actually under that is another whole set of various things he's doing. Let's move ahead here. So we're not going to suggest that you're going to see results like this every time, but this is the Endo 24. And it's just striking me as Gary is talking about using a seed treat to help get crops started this fall. This could be a winner. The Endo, you can see the average yield to the right. Again, random replicated plots. Huge difference this year. So I was talking with Denny Wildman's the consultant that works with Dr. Heininger. I've visited with both of them, but asking the question, what's going on? How is it this big? And Denny and Doc both said that as the plot emerged this year, the Endo 24 looked the best of anything he had out there. So you just saw the blocks. There was a lot of random replicated blocks.
And that's starters, other biology, biostimulants, all kinds of things.
Humic acids, fulvic acids, just across the board. He has really grabbed a hold of these things that can potentially help his growers in North Carolina. So what they observed was when the plots came out of the ground, and he's recalling that it was around V2 that these plots stood out. They were the best looking, best stand, best color plots. And then in pushing, what else happened here? They're checking some data, but Denny recalls thinking that back around V6, V7, when they were doing canopy temperatures, that we also had either the lowest or nearly the lowest crop canopy temperature, which is a huge thing in North Carolina. They've done a lot of work with products that help to keep the crops cool. To the extent, the 1 year we were down there, they were using these, it looks like a radar, I forget what it's called. You crawl up on a ladder and shoot a gun out over the crop canopy, and you can get your crop temperature.
Or a temperature gun.
Then the year after that, they're seeing such huge differences. They went the next year and actually put little sensors on leaves across the plots, so they were able to record data every 10 minutes or something like that. And they have observed that the biology, in this case the MVP, those crops stayed cooler. And then Dr. Heininger has talked to us at meetings about how significant that is in keeping the corn under the temperature that will cause scalding. I don't know if I said that word right. At any rate, they have seen scaldings. Yeah, you get the biology and get the root system going, it can make a really big difference. And we're not going to suggest that you're going to see this kind of yield difference. But if half of that or even a fourth of that is true, it's significant. So we're off to a really good start. With the
Interesting too, you see the test weights are all higher on the treated side. And the moisture did run higher here. Many times in plots, we see a lower moisture with biology. But in this case, down in North Carolina, maybe that meant it stayed greener, healthier longer.
Yeah,
And
this year they had the worst drought in Doc's 30-year history there at the college. So these yields are way under a year ago. And yeah, it was under significant drought stress. So to have that much yield difference, undoubtedly we could see it. There was more kernels per ear, but also bigger kernels per ear. So I suspect that's going to be a little bit slower to dry down or what have you. But with that much yield difference, that probably explains why the moisture was a little higher. They've also seen dramatic differences years past in crop quality. The molds that grew down there, their corn just tends to get loaded with ear molds each and every year with good biology on the growing crop. They have seen that, and we have pictures of it if you're interested, of dramatic reductions in ear molds.
yeah, I want to point out too here, the Endo 24 at the bottom there says it was put on at 8 ounces per 100 pounds of seed. So that's double our normal rate. And I guess we've never really thought of much about this before that, yeah, does a higher rate of seed treatment actually do better? We've never really tried that.
That's the full label rate. And
Yeah.
back in the early days when we first developed the seed treatment at full rate, we did see some unique things that sometimes it seems expensive, but I'd encourage you guys to consider that and try it. We need to continue to up these rates on these seed treatments.
In the past, in some systems, I know we've had issues of, well, guys would cut the rate back because a lot of the powder ends up on the side of the box or the bottom of the box or messing up meters or something like that. Really feel hopefully the Endo 24 has less of that as an issue than other products we've used before. So just something to consider. Yeah, does a higher rate of the seed treatment actually going to do better? So, and pay for itself. Let's see. Want to mention two, liquid options for plants in the fall, whether that's new seeding of wheat or the perennial crops like hay and pasture, even orchards, things like that. Cover crops, they still need a little bit of nutrition to get going and be better established. A better fertilized cover crop is going to do its job better than if we don't. So just some options on the conventional side are standard starters, which are changed a little bit this spring, but still just very similar to what we've done in the past. 724-4 and the sideband, which is more of a complete mix. NS carb, which is a nitrogen plus sugars and things. The AgriK Plus, that's potassium acetate based, which is a very highly available potassium. So especially on alfalfa or legumes that need potassium, if you know you're short, then that could be a really productive thing to help grow stronger roots in the fall, strengthen the plant, really help carry it through the winter so then it comes back faster next spring. Then AgriCal is calcium nitrate based, and that would be not compatible with like the potassium or some of the other any phos products, but to get soluble calcium out there, especially on things like alfalfa and hay, can be super beneficial. On the organic side, using the starter mixes, Complete O or Starter O, as just getting a broad base of nutrition out there and kind of biostimulants to really ramp up the biology as well as feed the plant. Those are all options. The MicroCal O again, organic calcium option. And And then there's also, of course, dry options that people look for in the fall, and we can help you source things. If it's not on here, ask us. We have contacts with a lot of different suppliers and might be able to help you get something. So there's the calciums, and that's the lime and gypsum. Also, this C165 that Anderson Feeds makes. We can help you get that. We've got some guys in Minnesota that have been using it this spring. So we can look at whether that's competitive for you to have it hauled to your area and see if that's an option worth trying. So that is available. Of course, the phosphorus, potassium, Nature Safe, various nitrogen products there, K-Mag, which is Sulpomag, sulfur, potassium, and magnesium altogether. There's all those options, dry humates, elemental sulfur, granular micronutrients. Again, just if there's somebody looking for something, you can ask us and we might be able to help you source it and then see if we're price competitive. Also in Central Illinois, through Early Bird, they do a lot of suspensions in the fall, and they can go within 80 miles of Goodfield, basically. So the center part of Illinois, we can help offer that as well through Early Bird, if that's in your area. And again, more. If you have somebody looking for something, ask us. We'll try to help. The final thing I want to mention, then we'll just open it up for any questions that we have. Late season hay making and that. There are guys still trying to get another cutting of hay before frost or doing some baleage or something like that. Well, this time of year, these products that we've worked with called Dynacure and Dynasile can really be helpful in getting the hay to dry down faster if you're dry baling, as well as keeping mold and mold down and aiding in leaf retention, keeping that on the stem when you bale it, which just improves quality overall. And then the Dynasile, which is for either silage or baleage, that kind of thing. So not to forget about those, especially late in the season when the days are shorter. If you have heavy dews in the morning, you just have less drying time. I think something like Dynacure could still help get better hay on that last cutting. And then the other product we've been working with, and this is not organic, unfortunately. We keep telling them if it was organic, we would sell 3 times as much of it, but maybe someday we'll get there. This Excel LQ, it's the same lactobacillus base as what the Dynacure and Dynasile are, but it's made for livestock feeding and basically helps with digestive health. Think of it as they call it a prebiotic, but you're really trying to improve the biology of the gut for better digestion. And I want to open it up. I think Ben Frieden, are you on here? You can unmute yourself. So Ben in Northeast Iowa, yes, Ben in Northeast Iowa has done quite a bit with this product with a lot of cattle guys in that. And I just wanted to ask Ben to share what he's seen with that.
Sure. You can hear me, right?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, Gary warned me yesterday he's going to ask me to share a little bit. So I did look back here. I started selling the product last July. So it's actually been just a little over a year. So I got one customer started in July, and that was going to basically a feed lot. He's feeding a higher forage diet in confinement feeder cattle. I got 3 other customers started last December. So by the end of last year, I had maybe sold 12 cases or so to 4 different people. Those 4 customers are all still using the product today, and they've all given good feedback. And then So then I've got 4 new customers that have started this year. So I've got 8 customers currently using it. Nobody that started has quit yet. So I think that speaks for itself to some degree. But basically the feedback I've gotten is better feed intakes, better appetite, just better overall health and vigor in the cattle. I do have one person putting it in the milk to baby calves, and they've noticed a marked decrease in scours, and they're very happy with it. Just recently got a customer started on it here with, I think, some 200 weight cattle that'll be fed to 500 pounds over the course of about 100 days, and they're going to track it pretty close to watch rate of gain. They have quite a few metrics that they look for in all the groups that come through, and he's got a lot of other cattle that he may try it on if he sees good results. So I'm pretty hopeful there. We're about 20 or 30 days in on that one, and I think we'll get some good data back out of that. Right now it's been anecdotal, I guess, but it's all been positive, so I'm pretty excited about it. Can answer any questions if there are any, but basically that's what we've been seeing so far.
Yeah, so we're just kind of bringing this up as this is something that as you go into the winter and through the winter, that's still an opening into talking with guys that have livestock, basically. Something that you can get them to try, because in the winter, especially when animals are under stress, and you got cold temperatures, you got more disease, flu, sickness, things like that going around the herd. I think this can really help keep the animals healthier, and then they'll see that difference. So just bringing it up as another option. We kind of got involved with it because it is natural and it is biology. It's microbial and fits right into what most of our guys are already doing. Again, this is not organic, so if the livestock are certified organic, you can't use this. But there's a number of organic growers that have other livestock that are not certified. That could still take advantage of that too. So just want to bring that up, and feel free to ask us questions anytime, and we'll try to help.
I throw a comment in too. I mean, we've always been excited to work with livestock operations. This is another door opener, perhaps, if you can get on the farm and talk to them about a product like this. Perhaps you can talk to them about their feed, if they're growing it or buying it, or trace it upstream. But there's no doubt over decades now that we've seen when we improve the soil, we improve the crop, we improve the health of the animals that consume that crop. So it's a beautiful fit. It's a complete package. It's another reason to talk to the farmers and a reason to share a story.
Right. I think that's all the product related stuff we have. We just want to cover a couple of other points, and then we'll just open it up for anybody that has questions, as long as you want, or you can drop off, and thanks for staying with us. So a couple things. We got a revamped website coming soon, we hope. The individual that we're working with lives in Orlando, so that's been a bit of a challenge here lately, as they keep getting hurricanes, and they're going to get another one.
He told us it's going to be closed today because he's going to lose power. So
yeah,
we'll get that far.
Yeah, so real soon, and then we'll have all the new labels on there. We tried to simplify things a little bit as to how you can find stuff. Hopefully still have all the back editions of the groundwork, which we think is just a valuable resource. All kinds of stuff from over the years there that you can share with people. Mentioning the groundwork, we have not been very good lately at getting those done, getting those out. Unfortunately, there's only so many of us, and we all get real busy, it seems. Imagine that. But we keep trying, and we will, especially over the winter, really try to hammer that till we get groundwork editions out on a regular basis. If you're not familiar with that, this is an email little news blurb type thing where we address a particular topic each time. Um, whether that's right now, the fall residue treatments or things like we just talked about, or in the spring, it could be about starters or using biology in the starter. Summer goes to foliars, just different, hopefully educational type things. Um, if you have emails of customers that you would like to receive the groundwork, you can either send them to us and we'll get them added, or when you get the groundwork email, you can certainly forward that, share that with anybody you want. Um, you can also print it off and share it in person too if you want. So um, we just, or we'll just commit to keep trying to get that out and get more information out that way. Prepay coming up. We haven't ironed that or nailed that down yet, but assume that we'll do something similar to what we've done in the past. We just haven't, gotten all the details worked out yet, but we'll let you know soon. Winter meetings, conferences, and shows. If you are thinking of doing a winter meeting, please talk to your rep that you work with or one of us as to what date or time frame you're thinking, so we can get that on a schedule. The calendar fills up real fast for the winter months, and time gets short, but we want to help you out any way we can. Also, if there's a conference or show of some kind that you are thinking of having a booth at or sponsoring, being part of, and you'd like our help with that, please let us know on that too, and we'll try to help you out. We've got pop-up banners, of course, all kinds of literature. And if it works out, one of us can come in person too. So we just want to try to help spread the word that any way we can with the time and resources that we have. Winter seminars, we haven't gotten around to thinking much about that yet, but we will soon, and try to get some dates nailed down and locations and get to work on that soon. So that'll be coming. Um, as Dean mentioned to start with, we hope to do or intend to do another meeting with you guys over Zoom by late November, early December, somewhere in there. And then we'll share more of the plot results or things we've seen in the field, as well as changes, new products, new stuff coming up for next year. So a lot of things in the works right now, and just waiting to get it more finalized and get more information back. So with that, thank you for all being on. We have 33 different entities on, and glad that you could spend the time with us this morning. And again, if there's any questions, any help we can be at all, just give one of us a call or a text or email or something, reach out and we'll try to get your questions answered or help you out any way we can. With that, you can, if you have a question or something you want to say, you can unmute yourself. And if you need to get on to doing something else today, then thank you for spending time with us this morning. And we wish you a safe and prosperous rest of the fall here. So thanks a lot. Does anybody have any questions? Other comments? Some great story you've heard? Doesn't look like it.
Gary,
Yeah.
this is Galen. Yeah. On the Endo 24, I talked with maybe you and Ken both. Is that getting anywhere on being organic yet?
Yeah, the Endo 24, we've had, what we've started doing, any new products with organic, we've sent them to PCO, that's Pennsylvania Certified Organic, out in Pennsylvania, and they will review a product for you and give you a letter saying that PCO approves it.
Okay.
We found a number of certifiers that will accept that letter, just like they do in Omri certificate or Washington State or any of those kind of deals. And then once they see that letter, then there's no more questions. They're fine. We have a couple of certifiers I don't know, remember who exactly that like don't accept that. Yeah, two ones that we found so far. And then we are, work with them to share the information they need. But yeah, with the Endo 24, we've not had any issues. I think, I don't know how many different certifiers we've got using that now. Yeah, a dozen probably or something. So not had any trouble there at all.
Okay,
And we,
thank.
and like I say, with the new digester, the residue treatment product, that's from the same supplier, so we don't anticipate any issues there either, but we'll know soon. So,
I appreciate that. I have just a couple of comments yet. One, I really appreciate the groundwork. I've been handing it out. I have a lot of Amish customers in my community, so I've been handing it out, getting it in their face. Yeah, really like that as far as that goes. And so, yeah, um, I like that I have something to get in front of people. And then on the Resicycle, I had a lot of fun with that this year on some of my garden and plot and produce customers. We've bagged it down into smaller bags, and we sell cover crops here in the store. So we place it right beside the cover crops, and we're able to move not huge volumes, but get it into people's hands. And it's very simple. They can just throw it out there with their seed. So for some of you have stores, that I thought that might be interesting. So thank you
yeah,
guys.
and with that Resicycle, I mean, currently it's in 50-pound bags, but if you need a particular size, we can measure that out and ship it that way. Because I know that the 50-pound bags are a bit of a hassle to ship. It's the biggest challenge with those. But we can weigh some into a pail or something like that too if we need to. So
So Galen, are you using that as a seed treat? Are they putting it on the seed and spreading it that way?
Um, some of these have like the small hand spreaders, like I forget what you call them, and throw it over your shoulder. There's a strap, little hand seeders. And I just told them to throw it in there with their seed. So I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but yeah, that's
yeah,
how we placed it.
yeah. Or if you're using a drop seeder push deal or
Yep,
something like that in your yard, you could just sprinkle some in there with
same
your other
same way.
materials. Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's great. Okay. Anything else? Any other comments? Not, we'll close her down. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Leave button.